Welcome, everybody. This is the This Could Be You podcast. I am Pastor Michelle, and I am pleased to invite to the screen one of my sheroes, one of the women I have come to admire quite a bit, who will inspire with her story and share just a little bit about how she was able to inspire in her space. So will you welcome to the screen my friend, Sister Soldier, Wanda Petty. Yay!
Hey!
welcome. It's been a while. How you been?
I've been doing well. I've been doing well, and it has been just a short while, but it's been long enough. We said we were going to keep in touch more frequently, so I'm glad that we're here today. Yeah.
Yes, me too. It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta, and I am excited that we're being able to record with the good sun out in my side view. So I'm excited about that. Hey, so tell us just who you are and what do you do professionally?
So I'm Sista. I am a retired Army veteran, HR background, and I work with women veterans in my organization, company, a for-profit company that is called She Vet Creative Network. Mm-hmm. And what we do in the network is we help women who are unofficial project managers identify their life work skills and experience so that they could earn more pay and help them to become content creators in the content marketing arena. Yeah.
That's impressive. How did you come to be in this line of work?
Well, first, I as a human resource manager, I always love working with people. Mm-hmm. And I worked a lot with women, and I still keep in touch with a lot of my recruits that I placed in the Army when I was active duty as a recruiter. And I just found that was my thing. I wanted to stay connected with people. And throughout my time in being in the military, I had an injury which caused me to catapult that journey. Whereas I became a wounded warrior in Walter Reed Army Medical Battalion, and it opened up my eyes to what was really happening with my peers and myself at the time. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I had skills that I could use to help, and I had the answers. And because I had the answers, I could not rest, and I haven't been able to rest until I just get the word out there that this is available for you and that you are qualified for jobs that have lucrative income as project managers, and be who you want to be. Take the skills that you've had and package that up and allow God to use you to go ahead and do what you're called to do here on the earth. So it all happened from a injury that opened up my eyes and really sparked my passion.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Your inspiration came during a time where you yourself was vulnerable. And that's a great segue into my next question. I was going to ask you, what would you say was the turning point for you, or when you discovered your voice and decided to do this for others?
So I would say that the turning point was when I actually was in Walter Reed, and I realized that that I was there for a purpose, and I stopped being the victim and became a listener to what God wanted me to do. And I recognized at that point that I was there to have an inside insight. And yet after that experience of being in a unit where my peers were coming back really injured, I fought it for a long time. Sure. I was afraid. I didn't know. I was concerned about what other people would think if I were to change my career path, because I was told that everybody wants this, my level of skill. I was afraid of really following my passion.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time to really realize that God is wanting me in this direction, and I need to just go ahead and yield. And once I started yielding, which really didn't happen until about, I want to say 8 years ago, that I
Mm-hmm.
began to yield to what God was calling me to do and hear and allow him to use me. And now I'm full fledged in it. I accept
Wow.
it with tenacity,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a learning process at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
because there are moments that I still have to reflect and think about, okay, am I doing this for because of fear of what someone will say or what they will think,
Mm-hmm.
or am I going to trust God?
Right.
If I'm
Yeah.
if I'm if I'm making a decision based upon um something that I have decided to change, I have to really consider, like, am I trusting God in the process, or am I not saying something because I think that so and so is going to say something or do something and they have
Yeah.
no power over me?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're my leadership team and I are currently in the process of reading this publication, "Humility and the Total Surrender," and I just that
Mm.
just rings true for me on the inside, because as you're getting to that space of total surrender in your place of lifting, when God wants to lift you up, that's a surrender too. I mean, we
Yes.
we
Yes, it
we miss
is.
that. We miss the fact that even as he lifts us up, it's there are parts of us that don't want to be. And then, you find yourself in this leadership space. And at the same time, God is using that so that other people behind you, which is what I see with your story that's so awe inspiring for me, is that as you yielded to that total surrender, it was in
Yeah.
your humility you allow God to do that. And that's amazing. That's amazing. And I just want to give you an applause for that, because that took
Mm.
courage. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
different kind of courage. I'm sure we can talk about that than being on
Yeah.
the front lines in the military, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different kind of
Yeah.
courage.
Yeah.
Now, see, people see you in your gear, but now they're going to see you in your humanity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is totally a different level of courage and a different type of courage, because we are so concerned as human beings a lot of times of the people that are surround us, because let's face it, people like to shun, and
Mm-hmm.
they have their comments, they have their thoughts and whatever on what we should do and how we should do it. But it's when we hear God and we're bold enough
Mm-hmm.
and have enough courage to follow what he says for us to do, then that's when the tables turn, because
Mm-hmm.
now we begin to step more into our power and our purpose of what he really has called us to do, and to trust him more. And he
Mm-hmm.
can really work in that process, you know?
And you think,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. You think about it, you are one in, I don't know, several 100,000 women who serve in the military. And just being able to be a voice for the voiceless is so, it makes my heart glad to know that you're my friend and that God is using you in this space. One last and final question for this space is, if you could dream a dream for anyone who may find themselves where you've been, what would your advice be to them to begin pursuing their dreams and inspiring others as you have? In other words, how would you utilize how would you instruct someone to utilize their platform to do just what you're doing?
So I would say, in the times where it feels like things are falling apart, they're really being put together.
I love that.
And
I
to
love that.
be strong and encouraged about what's happening. Don't go into it with fear, but with curiosity.
Mm.
and to allow oneself to see, like, be curious about what God is doing, be prayerful, stay
Mm.
connected to him, and
Mm-hmm.
and listen to what your intuition says from the Spirit of God. Find that quiet space, because it's when we are in that quiet space, then God can really speak to us. As long as we're having a hissy fit or pitching, crying and screaming and yelling and jumping around because things are not going the way that we thought they were supposed to go, that
Mm.
things are really happening for us and not to us. And
Yeah.
so it's to be still in those moments. When I had that injury, and I continuously asked myself, well, I asked myself once or twice, and then the Holy Spirit corrected me. But I had, the question that I had was, why me? Why is this happening to me? Because
Mm.
everything seemed to be falling apart in my very eyes, in my life, that my career that I had worked all these years for, to reach the highest height that I could possibly reach, was now broken to pieces because I couldn't
Mm.
maintain my job physically. And
Mm.
so who was going to hire me in that moment? I had nothing to really stand on but God. And he
Yeah.
began to show me how to trust him. And I learned to, I remember the day that I asked that question is, why me, Lord? Why me? Why am I going through all of this? He said, well, why not you?
Mm. Yeah.
If they persecuted me, what makes
Mm.
you think that you're any different? God, how about I shut my mouth at that point and I just
Mm-hmm.
said, okay. And I realized at that moment that I had to step back and see that there was something different that was happening with
Yeah.
me. And I had to look at it from a different perspective. So when we are in the situation, it
Mm-hmm.
looks chaotic, but
Mm-hmm.
sit still, be quiet, and allow God to minister and speak to your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and look at it from an eagle eyes view.
I love that.
And that will help you walk through that maze and go through the challenging times, even when it looks like it's not going to work out. I guarantee you, he won't fail you,
That's
because he
awesome.
doesn't start anything that he won't finish.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. There were so many things you shared in just that little bit, and I said this was the final one, but I want to dig a little bit more into the, even if it's breaking apart, it's being put back together. The
Mm.
thing about life and dreaming is sometimes when your hopes are deferred, you often think that there's nothing that can happen out of this. But just like me, just like you, and countless others who go through life circumstances and have not yet found that place of yielding, it's just so powerful. You said, even when it breaks apart, God's putting something together with that. So with that,
Yeah.
I want us to think about that as a listening audience. What might be going on in your life personally? What things may be happening that cause you to feel broken apart? That is the place where Sister said, just listen and yield to God so that He can finish the work. That's what I hear from this testimony. And I
Yeah.
want you to know that it could be you, it could be me, but in this space, just allow God to be God, and then He will show you what this masterpiece or this grand masterpiece is supposed to look like.
Mhm.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for hearing our testimony. We look forward to tapping in with you again soon. Thank you. I thought that was good.
Thank you.
So, sister, if people wanted to get in contact with you, if they wanted to call you or say, "Hey, I'm trying to find my voice. I'm looking for a mentor. I'm looking for someone to help me." How can people get in touch with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/Sister Soldier, Instagram, Sister Soldier at the Real Sister Soldier,
Mhm.
and She Vet Creative Network. .com. So that network has all of the entities of what we do as far as coaching, television, writing, and job placement. So yeah, just go to chevetcreativenetwork.com.
Awesome. You heard it here first. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.